What's up, everybody? Welcome to Johnny I Pro Show. I have here no other than Matt Bonner, Blake Murphy. Guys, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. We're the Raptors show for everybody listening. Check us out. We got our own podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, catch up on your Raptors news.
Yeah, and we get told. I get told enough. Stop working WWE stuff into your Raptors show. So we did this instead.
Exactly.
We're like, we'll work some Raptors stuff into the wrestling show.
Exactly. Now, look, wrestling and I'm wearing Raptors. Like, we all went reverse here. I love it. Now, you said the Raptors show. How did that all come about?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been covering the Raptors for a long time, back to like the days when I ran Raptors Republic. Came over to Sportsnet a couple years ago, and then Will Liu and Alex Wong left to do their own thing independently. Hello and Welcome, which is a great podcast everyone should check out as well. And then, yeah, so I kind of took the reins on the Raptors show. Matt was a free agent and was a natural fit, but I'll let him tell how he landed on the show.
Yeah, retired from playing in 2016 at the age of 36, which is actually pretty old in NBA terms. And when you finish playing, if you want to stay involved in the game at the NBA level, the three paths are front office, coaching, or media. I did the off-season programs that the NBA and NBPA partner to put on to kind of see what you like best. And what I learned was front office, you're working like 365 days a year. Coaching, it's like 9-10 months a year, and even your 2 off months, you're not really off. And then media, you work like a few hours a day, and you get your off season basically off. So having 3 kids, I'm like, lifestyle decision. I'm going to choose the media route, see how I like it. And I've been doing it ever since. I worked with the Spurs broadcast, and then 2.5 years ago, moved back here to Toronto. Like Blake said, was a free agent and got hired by Sportsnet to do the studio TV for the in-game broadcasts, and then partner with him to do the Raptors show on Fan 590, wherever you get your podcasts, and also on TV.
Nice. Now, the whole transition from player to media, how was that for you, like the first year or so?
Media is fun. It's fun to talk about basketball, tell old war stories. He does all the real work. I'm just kind of there to play, add my 2 cents. So it's enjoyable, but it's hard. Nothing can ever replace playing. So going from doing something you've done your entire adult life, and that rhythm and that kind of second family in the locker room, the pressure of playing in front of 20,000 people, the cadence of your life being determined, all-encompassing, being determined by the sport of basketball, and then it's like, poof, it's just completely gone. It's just such a big adjustment on so many different levels for you and your family, and it just takes time to make that adjustment, accept that, and figure out what your new normal is, I guess. It's not easy. I don't care who you are.
Exactly. Now, like I like to say, like you guys are the voice of basketball in Canada, or in Toronto in general, but in Canada for sure. Now, let's talk about the Raptors this season. Like, what are your thoughts on it? Did you think they're going to be this good, Blake?
Not quite this good, no. I think I picked them for 44 wins before the season, which would have had you, maybe you avoid the play-in. You're definitely in the play-in, but we'll see where that lands. And now I think you can start thinking, okay, avoid the play-in, maybe even fight for home court in the first round. So I was pretty optimistic things would gel enough in a weak East to be in the mix, but how quickly they gelled, how quickly Brandon Ingram has fit into everything, the level Scotty Barnes has taken his defense to. They've had a little bit of fortune, schedule-wise, and they've been relatively healthy outside of Jakob Poeltl. But yeah, especially on the defensive side, things feel, maybe 20 games ahead of schedule where I maybe anticipated, and they've banked a couple extra wins. So the bar gets nudged a little bit. I'm not saying like go to the conference finals, go to the NBA finals, but when the goal originally was like, yeah, maybe get in the play-in and see what happens, and now it's like, no, you can win a playoff series maybe if everything breaks right. It's been fun.
Exactly. Are you impressed with this year's team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm an eternal optimist, all about positivity. So my prediction was a 6 seed, and they're obviously exceeding that expectation, which I thought was pretty optimistic. So yeah, very impressed. I can't believe how quickly that starting 5 has gelled and figured out how to play together. I was curious how that was going to work, because there's only one basketball, and you got 4 guys out there that like to score, like to shoot, and Jakob Poeltl, who hasn't played much, to what Blake was saying, being injured. But they play together. They play hard. The bench units, been good. Mamu Kelishvili, great offseason signing. He's been awesome off the bench. Great value pickup. Jacoby Walters taking a step forward. Jamal Shed's been a energy spark plug defensively and also pushing the pace on offense. Grady struggled, been up and down, but he's been better at everything else outside of scoring. Hopefully that will come around and further bolster their bench. And Colin Murray-Boyle's their draft pick. He's probably my favorite player on the team right now. Does all the little things, hustle plays, rebounding, defense, blocking shots, a connector on offense. He's been great as well.
Exactly. Now I gotta ask you a question. Says playing for the legendary Billy Donovan as well in Florida.
I thought you were gonna say Coach Pop, but
no, we're getting there. We're getting there for sure. Like, how was that?
Coach Donovan's the best. One of the best human beings I've ever known. Nicest guys, family man. Perspective outside of basketball, off the court. I cannot say enough great things about him. He got inducted in the Basketball Hall of Fame this past fall, and I was able to go and be there for the ceremony and see him and the whole Gator family from that era of basketball. It was a lot of fun.
You'd have to go back and dig, but Matt actually had Billy Donovan on our show last year. I was off for that one, but Matt and Billy chopped up for 20, 25 minutes. It was a great interview.
Yeah, he's from Long Island. Played basketball at Providence College in New England. And my dad was a huge fan. I grew up in New England, and he was a huge Yankees fan. And growing up in New England, I was a big Red Sox fan. And this is before the Sox broke the curse, right? I was at Florida 99 to 03. And my high school was so anti-Yankees that Yankees sucks chants would break out at school assemblies and stuff. It was just a thing. And so when I got to Florida, he had a Yankees poster or something, a little thing in his office. I had a Yankees suck shirt, and I used to wear it to all the film sessions. We'd rib each other about that. It was pretty funny. But great guy, and glad he's had relative success in the NBA. He's definitely managed to keep a job for a long time, probably because he's a great guy and also a great coach.
Now we're saying Florida, yourself. We're saying before we even started. How'd you become a Jaguars fan? Let's talk about this.
Yeah, the story's not that interesting. So obviously here in Canada, most people just kind of pick whatever team, right? I'm 39, so a lot of my friends are Colts fans because that was when Peyton Manning came up. My dad's a Patriots fan because Tom Brady was the only guy he knew. So I had nothing, and I just at the time I started getting into football, they had Mark Brunell at quarterback, Fred Taylor at running back, Jimmy Smith at wide receiver, and I found that if you played as a lefty quarterback in Madden, you could mess up your friends because everyone when you're in high school, no one's playing defense properly. You just play as the edge rusher or the outside linebacker and try to get the sack. So if you play as a lefty, everything gets inverted. So I got really good with the Jaguars in Madden. Cool jerseys. No one else cheered for them. I think they made their first conference finals run right around the time I started paying attention. I was just cool. These are my guys now, and it's been a painful 20 years or so. But we're back, man. Yeah.
What is this called this weekend against the Bills? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is. I was on.
He's got some enemies in the Sportsnet office.
Yeah, no one's cared that I'm a Jaguars fan for a decade. This is only their second playoff appearance since I think 2017, and that was the height of Blake Bortles basically being a walking meme. But they beat the Bills that year, so I've been holstering that, and if Bills fans come, that's ready. But yeah, I feel pretty good about it. The Bills are. Look, Trevor Lawrence is on the come up, and there's no better way to find out if he's for real than have him go up against Josh Allen, a guy who's done it and a guy who can win a game himself. So we've only seen Lawrence in the playoffs once for 2 games. One of them he threw 4 picks and then led a huge fourth quarter comeback. So I don't know. Anything's on the table. I'm feeling pretty good about it, though.
Good to see how that happens. Yeah. Now I asked you, Matt, now as well. Drafted by the Bulls 2003, then traded to the Raptors, but then there was no spot for you because I believe back then there was no G League. So you went all the way to Italy to play. Well, you played in Italy. How's that for you playing in Italy?
Oh, man, I could keep you here for hours telling you stories. I was in Messina, Sicily, so it's completely different than the northern part of the country. It's going back 20 years in time to when people picture Italy that have never been, that's probably what you're picturing.
The Godfather.
Exactly.
The flashbacks with Pacino.
The Sicily Godfather scenes were shot at a town like 25 minutes from where I was playing. It was like a huge tourist area. They still have the car in front of the villa that they blew up. They blew up Apollonia, and but yeah, it was. I could keep, again to boil it down. It made it not that I was going to take playing in the NBA for granted. It made it so that could never possibly happen. Like I got drafted in the. I did, I think 18 pre-draft workouts. Like basically 5, sometimes 6 days a week in a different city, doing a pre-draft workout for a different team, and getting drafted in the second round during a commercial.
You and Jokic.
Yeah, it's actually a funny story. I worked out for the Knicks twice, and that's actually how I got drafted by the Bulls for the Raptors. Glenn Grunwald, the GM, was at the second Knicks workout, and I was working out against a Polish kid, Lampy. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, Masij.
And I beat him so bad in every drill that he like quit the workout. It was like 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 5-0. My back's locked up. I can't play anymore.
Yeah.
And then I shot like 95% in every shooting drill. They brought me back for a second workout, did it again. Knicks had 3 second-round picks, like 30, 33, 39. I'm like, I'm definitely going to get one of these picks. You know, this is awesome. I'm going to New York. This is going to be sick. And 30th pick, not me. 33rd pick, not me. 39th pick, not me. I'm in the basement of the Capitol Grill in downtown Concord, New Hampshire, where I'm from. Not like the fancy chain Capitol Grill, but like the mom and pop version. I was just gonna go sit at the bar with a few buddies, and my dad, who's a mailman for 30 plus years in Concord, knows the entire city, and very outgoing. Just like, hey Matt, you mind if I invite a couple buddies? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Show up, there's like 200 people there. It's like a full-on draft party. So now after this, I'm like, great, this is gonna be super embarrassing. All these people are here. I'm not even gonna get drafted. And, 40th pick, not me. 41st, no. 42nd, no. 43rd, no. 44, no. They go to a commercial. They come back. They draft the 46th. And then they start doing the 46 person's highlights. I can't remember who it is. And then they're like, oh, yeah, while we were at commercial with the 45th pick, the Chicago Bulls took Matt Bonner. And everybody's like, wait, did he just say your name? We're all like, yeah. Not realizing, like, no G League back then, no two-way contracts. You get drafted second, you're not guaranteed a contract. Raptors had 17 guaranteed contracts on their roster at the time. They're like, go play in Europe for a year. So then I ended up in Messina, Sicily, this, like, renegade first division team, awesome league, tons of NBA players on every squad. But, like, we were on a team where, like, our entire team's payroll, like, the big teams, Milan, Rome, Bologna, all those teams, Treviso, like one player on their team makes more than our whole team combined. Like that's the salary. There's no salary cap rules. So like what? Yeah, exactly. Or the Dodgers. It's like the Dodgers now. But like, what chance do you have to beat them? You know. But it was awesome. I only got like half my money. The team ended up filing for bankruptcy. I got evicted from my apartment twice because they weren't paying my rent. I got my electricity cut once. I could tell you a zillion crazy stories about living there. Yeah, exactly. But I came back. And made the Raptors. I had to make the team because the head coach and GM that drafted me got fired. They had a new head coach and GM. Didn't draft me. Went to summer league. Made the training camp roster. Played preseason and made the team as like the 15th man, and just grinded my way into the NBA.
You played all 82 games too as a.
That's right.
Yeah, wow.
So unlikely that he made the team that you have to add him as a free agent if you go back and play the NBA Live game. He's in the game, but not on the Raptors roster. You got to sign him off the free agent bid to play as.
Yeah, I made it the hard way. I didn't have anything given to me, and going from, like dine and dashing at hotels in Italy because our team couldn't pay the bill, to like private jets and Four Seasons charter jets and all of that, eating at the real Capitol Grill.
Yeah, the real.
It was. I'm like, no one's ever taking this from me. You know, that was the mindset.
Now you were saying as well during that time, 03, 04-ish. Now it was the whole Vince Carter saga, Blake. I gotta ask you about this now. Vince Carter, that whole saga. Do you remember that saga? Like, I'm not dunking no more. He's the one to get traded. I gotta ask you as a fan.
Yeah, so I was in high school, so that was actually right around the time I started getting into basketball, because hockey was my whole life till I was like 16. Till it was like, you're not gonna make junior, dude. You're a 5'10" defenseman, like you don't have it. So I had, and like in high school, I wrestled and I played lacrosse and stuff like that, but I hadn't really gotten into basketball. And I herniated a disc in my back wrestling, and then all my buddies were on the basketball team. So I was like, cool, I'll be like student manager, I'll keep the stats, whatever, just hang out with everyone. And that's when I started really getting into basketball and, looking up Canadian basketball players online back when you had to like find forums to find guys' stats and stuff like that. So like my entry point, obviously I was aware of Vince Carter from like the dunk contest and stuff like that. I'm like, that's cool. That's awesome that he's a Raptor. But I wasn't really a basketball fan until things got bad with Vince Carter. So I kind of jumped in like as the divorce was starting. So weirdly, like, obviously, I have absorbed all the history and the emotion, how people felt at the time, but I didn't really feel it that much because, like, my introduction to the team and to the franchise was already like, well, Vince kind of wants out and he's not dunking anymore and he's really good, but there are these issues. So I kind of got like I got told honestly what the situation was as I came in. So it was a little weird, and then obviously, like, even as a novice fan, that's not a very good trade. You're like, who are these guys that are coming in? Yeah. But yeah. I didn't have to carry the like emotional weight of like, oh, I had all these highs and then he bailed. I kind of came in as he was bailing.
Yeah, exactly. And I gotta say now for you as well, 2004-ish, we all know this incident that popped up. You know what I'm gonna talk about. Yeah. Kevin Garnett. Let's talk about that right there. And that legit pretty much made you a fan favorite. Like just let's talk about that moment right there. Did you in the
that was awesome. It'll be the closest I'll have ever come to being a professional wrestler. And that's what I felt like. KG got the offensive rebound. He went up. I was behind him. He didn't see me, and I'm like, you're going to have to earn this one at the free throw line, buddy. And I fouled him hard, took him to the ground. He took exception to that, me being a rookie, and got up in my face. Latrell Sprewell came and chest bumped me. This is before the bench clearing rule. So, like, I remember Sam Mitchell and some guys off the bench kind of grabbed me, separated them. And then the refs, like, conferred and then ejected me. And I'm like...
of all players.
That's not... What the heck? Like, I fouled him hard. Yeah, fair enough. But, like, I didn't instigate anything. I clearly biased because I'm a rookie. And, all right... we can't keep both these guys in the game. Who do the fans want to see, Matt Bonner or Kevin Garnett? They were like, see you, Matt. And the whole crowd started chanting my name. They loved it. We weren't having a great year. So the fact that someone stood up to Kevin Garnett, they loved the town. I mean, I think it's evolved a lot, but at the time it was like hockey mentality here.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. And that's a hockey play right there, physical play. And I remember going in the tunnel, slapping the fans. Energized the game. We came back we ended up winning the game. And this is when Minnesota was like one of the top two teams in the West. So I was on the front page of the paper the next day, and I basically went from like no one really knowing who I was in the city to like everybody in the city knew me. And, the Red Rocket nickname took off thanks to Chuck Swirsky.
I love Chuck Swirsky. Salami and cheese.
Yeah, and I didn't have a car. I'd walk around. I'd take the subway, take the streetcar, and fans would be on there like, hey, Red Rocket, hey. And it was before camera phones and social media and stuff. So, like, there's nothing, people would have a little chat and then get off at their stop, but, someone like that high profile, I don't think they could do that now. Everybody would be taking selfies and posting about it and this and that. Like, so it was a cool moment in history to be able to do something like that, I think.
It was very organic. Because nowadays, realistically, like myself, if I happened, I probably would take my phone out. I'm being honest with you, it's the truth. Like, but back then, it probably felt organic to you.
Yeah, I mean, I still get it. Yeah. I got a free fare on the TTC today. We were going to talk about it in chat tomorrow. But yeah, two of the TTC guys were like, oh, the Red Rocket, you going on the Red Rocket? And I'm like, yeah. And for everyone listening, the Red Rocket's the nickname for the TTC, yeah. And they looked at each other, and he's like, should we? And the other guy's like, I don't know, should we? And he's like, yeah, we got you, Red Rocket, and they buzzed me in so I could get a free fare. It's great.
I love it.
Careful, though. You're going to get a fare inspector later on the ride, and then you didn't pay.
Yeah. I love it. Now, during that time as well, it was when, as we said, Vince left, and Bosh took over. Could you tell like Bosh was gonna be the it factor, like the it guy for the Raptors?
Yeah, dude, I remember a game from Bosh's, I'm pretty sure it was his rookie year. It was against the Houston Rockets, and went to overtime. He hit the first three of his career. It was a corner three. I think descended to overtime. It might have been in overtime, but I remember at this point I was only playing hockey like once a week. I'd stopped playing. I was like, and I was at my friend Adam Wood's place, and I was like, man, I gotta go. Like the game's gonna start. I gotta take off. And that game went to overtime, and I was like, I'll be late for hockey. Like that was like the official turning point of like, oh, I'm a basketball guy now. I'm late for hockey to watch this Bosh overtime game. So that one stands out to me a lot. I don't know if I knew like, oh, he's going to be, a top guy and a big part of the Miami Heat big three. But yeah, I remember the Bosh optimism and that game in particular being like, okay, this guy's a dude. And at that point too, like Matt aside, you didn't see a lot of like big power forwards knocking down threes, right? So for him to do it in a clutch spot, were you still on the team? Do you know the game I'm talking about?
I can't remember.
Okay. It was against Houston. I remember that for sure.
12 years. So.
Yeah, you played a few games.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, as well, after you got traded to the Spurs, I believe, 2006, then you signed a 3-year contract in 2007.
Yeah.
Won a championship with the Spurs. Now, I got to ask you, playing for Popovich, the whole Spurs culture, how's that?
It was unreal. I mean, I remember getting traded there. I got traded with a vet named Eric Williams, played at Providence College, was kind of a journeyman in the NBA. And we got there, I got there like mid-August in training camps, like the first week of October. So, 6-7 weeks before training camp was even supposed to start. And my mindset was like, I'm going to get down there, get in the practice facility, start working, getting in shape, working on my game, making sure I'm like in peak readiness for training camp. I got down there, everybody's already down there. Like, they're doing organized workouts, lifting. We're flipping these huge tires in the parking lot. We got this man-made running hill in the back. We're running up that, doing conditioning. We're not just playing pickup. We're playing pickup within the constructs of the Spurs offense. So, like, all right, this segment of we had strong and weak were our two main continuity offenses, secondary break. And all right, we're working on this part of weak. So like every time down, that's the action we would run to initiate the offense. Like it was just on a different level. And like Michael Finley was there.
Legend.
Tim Duncan was there. Bruce Bowen was there. It wasn't like just young guys, like guys.
Manu and Tony Parker there as well.
Yeah, everybody's down there early working. Whereas on the Raptors, everyone showed up like 3 days before training camp, played some pickup, and then away we go. It was just like a completely different thing. The coaches were there, and I remember the first day of training camp, we were just doing our stretches up and down the court, and Eric Williams turned to me and he goes, "Welcome to the real NBA, Matt."
No.
And then he goes, "We're gonna win a goddamn championship this year. Watch." And he was right. First year, we won the championship.
And now playing with Tony Parker, I'm going to ask you as well, Blake, is this. Tony Parker, Ginobili, as well as Duncan itself. Let's just say, Duncan's American. Let's just say, like, as an international players itself, do you think, Blake, like, are they perhaps one of the best, or some people even consider Tony Parker underrated, which I don't. I think Tony Parker's an absolute all-star stud. But people always say, like, he's underrated. Manu, I don't think he's underrated. But I don't know, do you think, like, that three there, like, perhaps, are they underrated?
Yeah, I mean, look, we were talking about Tony Parker being underrated the other day.
Top five point guards. He's got to be considered.
Underrated? Like, actually, like, as in, you mean of all time?
Yeah,
oh,
of
for
all
sure,
time.
100%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the thing, is like you might write him properly, but does like the average fan? I don't know. And like I think Tim Duncan, I think because of that era of the NBA and the fact that he was a little like quieter personality wise, and there was always this contrast of KG's personality against his, it probably got slept on a little bit. I think time has done well to like put those guys in the appropriate light. But I think you look at, and Manu and Tony are super interesting because they're so influential. Manu in terms of like the international growth of the game and into South America and stuff like that. And then Tony just in terms of like the style of point guard play, where like we looked up the stats and like his level of efficiency at that size, like with everything being just like paint. It's how like every team wants a point guard to play now. It's pretty, and Manu just being like a guy who sacrificed and came off the bench the whole time. Like Tim is Tim Duggan's Tim Duggan. He's one of the greatest winners of all time in the history of the sport. But yeah, so I don't know if they're underrated, but I certainly appreciate all three of them a lot.
Why do you think though they consider them as underrated? Which I think perhaps Tony Parker is one of the best point guards. I think.
I mean, the two reasons I think they're underrated is number one, we're in San Antonio, where it's anti-attention, anti-media, anti-social media hardly even existed in their primes. But like we'd finish practice and there would be like one beat reporter, and that was it. You know, the Spurs did nothing to bring attention upon themselves, and were totally happy flying under the radar. So as far as like the hype you get, like if you live in LA or New York or Chicago or whatever, in those markets, that didn't exist there, and the Spurs were fine with it. Also, I think all three of those guys sacrificed their own personal numbers. And I think we talked about this. When you evaluate a team's performance in a game, a lot of people read the newspaper, look at the final score, and look at the box score and be like, oh, this guy had, 17, 8, and 6. Like, Scotty has a lot of games like that. And you're just like, I guess it was just a ho-hum game. But if you actually watch the game and how they affect winning, there's so much that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. And I think all three of those guys did those things where if they were in different situations and you look them up on Basketball Reference, their stats could be way higher. But if, 10, 15 years down the line, you go back, you look at their stats, and you're like, oh, they weren't that good. And it's like, actually watch the tape.
Watch the tape, yeah, exactly.
Especially in big moments, in clutch moments when it was winning time. Watch what those dudes do. All three of them are ridiculous, but to me, Tony Parker, he's one of the most clutch players ever. Like, you needed him. You needed a bucket. You needed to make something happen, make the right play, offense or defense. That guy was a dog in those situations.
We looked it up, too. The numbers bear it out. His playoff numbers are crazy, like way higher than his regular season numbers, too.
And also his FIBA, they're well known, especially in Argentina, what Manu do Argentina.
Yeah, the golden generation there, yeah.
Parker as well, I'm sure. Well, did they ever win a gold medal with, I'm sure they came close until that Greece, remember Greece 2004, where they knocked out USA.
I think they won a Euro championship,
FIBA,
right?
Yeah, I think so. They disrupted Spain's run of a bunch there.
Manu Ginobili, my God.
Yeah, I mean, that era of Argentine basketball, that kind of tailed off when Scola was done his 83rd Olympics the other year. Yeah, that's...
You couldn't just touch those guys. As well as this, I got to ask now, we're talking before we started, Giannis. Well, I'm Greek, so I got to talk about this. He's confusing me. What is going on? He comes on yesterday. Well, I don't know if it was today. I seen it today or yesterday, whatever it was. He's like, I'm loyal. I'll stay here, type of thing. Like, I'm just an employee, as you said. Like, what is going on? Start with you, Blake.
Yeah, so there's a piece at The Athletic written by Sam Amick, who is one of their national reporters. He sat down with Giannis last night after the Warriors game, and it was a tough loss for them, and they're not in a playoff spot right now. And he's like, can I just ask you straight up, trade deadline's less than a month away. Is there any scenario in which you'll ask for a trade? And he said never. I will not ask for a trade. Now he's a free agent, and he can be a free agent in a year and a half, so that's not asking for a trade. If the Bucks decide to trade him and he does, I'm just an employee, I didn't want out. But he was pretty unequivocal that, I will not ask for a trade at any point. And I think if you're the Bucks, and we've talked about this a bunch on the show, even if, I have, salary cap brain and teams want to rebuild and stuff like that, logically you might be able to be like, well, if you traded Giannis for a huge package, maybe it would make some sense. But you want ownership and you want management to be like, no, we have Giannis. We will continue to try to do everything. We will waive and stretch Damian Lillard to sign Miles Turner to try to win with Giannis, because the chances of you ever getting another Giannis are nothing.
Very rare, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that mindset.
Yeah.
I love it. I always tell the story, you sign a contract somewhere, in my mind, you're there to play your heart out for that team in that city for the length of that contract. To Blake's point, you're a free agent after that, and you want to change teams. I don't feel as bad, either way. But to ask for a trade in the middle of a contract that you shouldn't have signed the contract. You should have signed 1-year contracts then, so you have a chance every year to leave if you want. And I tell the story. My dad, growing up, goes to me and my brother and my sister. My neighbor had a big pile of rocks in this big, they're heavy, 5-10 pounds each. in his front yard, and he's like, "Hey, a neighbor said the landscapers dumped this pile of rocks in his front yard. It's supposed to be in the backyard. He said he'll pay you if you move the rocks. Pay you all $50 each if you move the rocks in the back." And I'm like, "Oh, $50 when you're like 11, 12? You're like a millionaire." Done. We went out. We worked for like 6 hours. It's summer, no school. Like 6 hours in the hot sun. We're moving rocks. We got these 5-gallon buckets from Home Depot. We're moving the rocks. Blisters, smashing our fingers, sweaty. After 6 hours of busting our humps, it looked like we barely made a dent in this pile. So I go to my dad and I'm like, "Listen, can you tell our neighbor we appreciate the offer, but like, I'm sorry, it's impossible. This is going to take forever." And he's like, "Well, did you shake his hand and agree to the deal?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Then you're going to finish that job." I'm like, "Come on, Dad." He's like, you don't do that job, you're grounded the rest of summer." So we went and we finished. It took like 2 weeks, all day, every day, and we moved all the rocks. I can't even tell you how many hours of work it was.
Harder than $50
for $50, yeah. But as a lesson, like, you make an agreement with someone, that's the deal. Like, then you shouldn't have made the agreement.
Commitment, yeah.
Exactly. So I like that Giannis said that.
I love it. Now, as well, we're going to go to LeBron now. Being 41, like, it's just, to me, it's like he's not human. You obviously played LeBron, well, your first championship. That young LeBron team on the Cavs just was unreal, even how he made the finals itself. Like, winning that championship there, did you know that, do you see to yourself, like, LeBron's going to be, like, the next big thing?
Yeah, obviously, but I didn't think there was any way he could possibly last this long. The reason being, like, he heavily relied, I mean, don't get me wrong, he was super skilled and had a high basketball IQ, but he heavily relied on his physical gifts. His athleticism, his vertical, his speed, his burst, all that. And usually players that depend on that, once they lose it, it doesn't go well for him. At the time, he wasn't a great three-point shooter. But to his credit, he has figured out how to outthink his opponents, adapt his game, get better at shooting from the outside, learn when to pick his spots, and is still incredibly effective at the age of 41 with all that mileage, not to mention all the Team USA stuff he does in the offseason. I have no idea how his body is still intact. It's insane. I walk I feel like a 70-year-old man some mornings with my knees and hips and stuff, and I played like 15, 20 minutes a night. Like, it's just bonkers how he's been able to do that.
Incredible. Now, what's your take, like, just seeing LeBron at 41 rounds doing what he's doing?
It's crazy, man. Like, you mentioned the, like, walking funny. I watched the Hiroshi Tanahashi retirement match the other night, and then the press conference after, and he's walking like this, and like, and I think of that, like, every time I see LeBron, I'm like, is that how he's walking after these games? Because, like, not only has no one ever done it at this level, no one's ever done it, period. Like, this is one of Vince Carter's legacy things, and where I think some of the public opinion around him turned is, like, he ended up playing longer than almost anyone ever. And LeBron's broken that record now. He's close to breaking the all-time games played record, broke the minutes record, the points record. Like, no one, it's not only that he's stayed around at the top level, it's like no one stays around that long, period, at any level.
At that level that he's playing.
Yeah, because Vince was like coming off the bench, like OG.
Yeah.
LeBron's still like all NBA.
It's crazy.
All-Star as well, guaranteed this year for sure again. Oh, for sure.
Oh, he'll get voted in. It's like, yeah, he'll be, and that's something like he's gonna have. I think he's gonna have more All-Star appearances than almost anyone else has seasons played, because I think it was only his rookie year that he didn't make the All-Star team.
Oh my God, I just took that what you just said.
So I think,
wow.
Yeah, I think he'll have as many All-Star appearances as anyone else ever had seasons. Period.
What's that? 14, 15?
No, 22. I think this is year 23 for him. I think.
What?
Me and him were in the same draft. He was like 18 though, obviously, but.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Like, to Matt's point about, like, the physical gifts and stuff, I remember when he went back to Cleveland, 2016, they played the Raptors. This is the first time Cavs and Raptors met of the three. And the Cavaliers, that was a series that went to 6. And they just spammed, when it was LeBron on the bench, they just ran a corner offense, and they basically spammed LeBron around the elbows, just kicking out the shooters, just creating mismatch and kicking out the shooters. I was like, you know what? He might be able to do that. Like, he's not going to be ball dominant one-on-one dunk on everyone, but, like, the level of intelligence and passing and stuff like that had reached a point where I'm like, well, he could just be like a back to the basket power forward at some point. But I would have thought like that extended him to like 36, not to 46.
41.
He might be able to do that at 46 at this
Matt?
point.
Like, what do you perhaps to start with you, Blake? What do you think he's going to retire? Is this his last season or no?
No, I think he would do the Kobe retirement tour. I think he would announce ahead of time that he's done.
You agree with that?
I have
He
no
needs a tour
idea.
for sure.
I don't know. Like, it's
At this
crazy.
point, at this point, who knows? I guess you know Kobe's story. We all know he called you the Red Mamba, but you were actually playing in that game. You got 26 points, I believe, when you dropped 81.
No, I did not.
Was it? Was it not 26?
I had like 12.
Was it? Okay, I must have read something different.
But yeah, no, 26. We'll go with that.
I went bucket for bucket with
That's
Kobe
right.
for the first
But
half.
the crazy thing is, you were actually playing that game when you dropped 81. How was that to witness that? Kobe Bryant dropping 81 points.
A feeling of helplessness. You know, people always ask, how did that possibly happen? And basically, if you go back and watch the game, and that's how I got my nickname, Kobe on the 10th anniversary, watched it live tweeting, and I hit a shot, and he called me the Red Mamba on Twitter, and it stuck. But we were winning going into the fourth quarter. So for the first 3 quarters, it was Coach Mitchell is basically on during timeouts like, you know, that guy can score all the points he wants as long as we win the game. That's all that matters. So for 3 quarters, yeah, great. It worked. We were winning. Then it all went to hell in a handbasket in the fourth quarter. And they came back, won the game, and he had the 81 points, which just looked really bad.
Bonkers. And who guarded him? I believe Jalen Rose?
Mo Pete and Jalen
Yeah,
Rose.
everyone had a shot at it at some point, but yeah, it's like, and everyone watching just like, why aren't you double? Like at a certain point, just like hard double, get the ball out of his hands.
We did try to double him
Yeah.
sometimes, but he was just really strong and athletic, and also he'd get the Kobe whistle. Like if you breathed on him, it's a foul.
Kobe whistle.
And like he could just like raise up and knock. I mean, he wasn't a great 3-point shooter, but that game he was, and he just raise up and hit deep ones with guys right on him. It was again a feeling of helplessness.
Exactly. Now, 2014, let's go all the way to 14 when you won another championship as Kawhi MVP against LeBron. But this time, different version of LeBron. The super team, as they call it. Bosh, Wade, and him. Now, I got to ask you, what championship was more special to you? 2007 or 14?
14, definitely. That was like after coming back from the year before where we lost in the way we did with Ray Allen hitting the shot. You know, we were, 32 seconds away, up 5. They had the trophy right next to the bench. They had the rope with all the security guards, all friends and family behind the bench with after-game celebration passes. We had it. You know, Kawhi's at the foul line. It's over, and then that happened, and we ended up losing. It was devastating. And then even people forget we still had Game 7, and we were able to refill the cup and come back Game 7. I think Timmy missed a shot that would have tied it with under a minute left, and they came down and scored, and that was it. So to be able to keep the team together and then come back and avenge that loss the way we did, 4-1, that was the most special thing. Yeah, that team, that's probably my favorite team I ever played on, and we'll have a bond for life, all of us.
Do you guys ever do a reunion?
No, we were just talking about this. Yeah, I don't know. The Spurs don't really do any reunions. So I remember when Patty Mills got married in Hawaii, like the whole team was there for that, and that was just so much fun. We definitely got to try to figure out how to get together more often.
For sure. I love it. Now, I got to ask you as well. We're talking about Kawhi, young Kawhi. Then 2019, Raptors, we all know what happened there. I got to ask you this now, coming from you two guys, professionals. Do you agree with Kawhi leaving?
I mean, look, there's personal and family stuff that we can't understand. I think from a basketball standpoint, it was pretty clearly the wrong move. Like, even if you can orchestrate getting Paul George there as well, you're coming off a championship. The Raptors had the ability to bring back basically everyone. You look at how well the Raptors did without Kawhi Leonard the following year, where if the pandemic doesn't happen, they have a real chance to repeat. They took Boston to 7 games in the second round in the bubble, even without Kawhi. So and I get it. It's the bubble. It's weird. We've argued. I think Mo DeKeel pushed back on this when I said that on the show. I think they repeat if he comes back, and he's got. Oh, I mean, they went to Game 7 of the second round without him. And like, they didn't, like, it's not like Kawhi left and you could be like, well, here's all this cap space. They replaced it with Stanley Johnson. Yeah. Like, that was because they were so deep into the tax the championship year, they just had no like CBA loopholes to replace Kawhi. So it was just, here's Stanley Johnson, and we'll hope some of the rookies pop. You drop Kawhi in there, I think they have a really good chance to repeat. The stuff in LA hasn't worked out. Some of that's health related, some of that's roster build related. So I don't know. I can't speak to the family side of things and that him wanting to be there. I think from a basketball perspective, from a they could potentially repeat perspective, from a that's the last time he was fully healthy over an entire season. He obviously had something going with the Raptors medical staff there. I think from that standpoint, I'm like, yeah, man. I wonder how much he thinks about it. And it's like, well, I could have done one more ring. Could have done a short deal and still got to LA eventually. I don't know, man. I think they probably win another one if he comes back.
What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the opinion if you win a championship, you should want to try to run it back.
Yes, exactly.
At least give him another shot. Yeah. See what happens. I will say it's really hard to repeat. We've talked about this on the Raptors show a lot. Despite, just because you have the same team back and maybe even some of the guys because of the experience the year before are even a little bit better, it's just it's so mentally taxing to win a championship and like go through that emotional, psychological grind of the extra 2 months of the season and the ups and downs. You just push yourself to places you don't even know you could go. And then you do it, and it's like this huge release, this relief. And then to have that same sense of urgency the next year is difficult. And I think basketball is a lot different than, no offense to the Dodgers. I know it's not easy to repeat in baseball too. But like baseball, a lot of times it's just like who's hitting the ball, like... A lot of basketball in the postseason when you get in a 6-7 game series is like will. And if you have two teams that are relatively even and one hasn't won the championship and one did the year before, that could be enough to tilt the series to the other team. Football is a sport that I think is like that too.
We haven't seen anyone repeat this since the 2017-2018 Warriors. So.
And think of like that's considered like the greatest team ever.
Yeah.
So like that's what it, in my opinion, that's kind of like what it takes to do it. We'll see if OKC can. They've run into a little adversity as of late and lost some games. Unfortunately for me, I think that's only going to make them better and stronger. Without struggle, there is no progress. They need to go through some adversity, and they're going through it now. So if they get over this the right way, it could align them mentally to be able to make another run. I think OKC has the best chance to do it since Golden State did it for sure.
Exactly. Now as we're winding off basketball, I could ask you now, one of the last questions is this. Give me your Mount Rushmore of basketball players. For you to start off with you, the greats, Mount Rushmore.
Like any era?
Of all time.
Okay.
I'd love to hear this.
Yeah, Michael Jordan, obviously, LeBron. Man, this is where history-wise, how do you compare eras? Like,
you just go to generation.
And I think Bill Russell probably has to be in there if you value winning at a high level. Yeah, then the fourth one's obviously the toughest one because who do you leave off at that point? What did I say? LeBron, MJ, and Bill Russell.
Russell, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty safe top three. Let me think on four.
Yeah.
I have the same three plus Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan. Bad. I'm not.
Tim Duncan never won less than 50 games in his entire career, and. It's easy to look at guys counting stats, like I said, but as far as someone who affected winning, he's on my Mount Rushmore.
I got to ask you now, Matt, is this playing in the NBA for 12 seasons, what has basketball taught you?
Man, sorry. I don't mean to laugh at the question. It's just like such a broad question. A million things. Just off the top of my head, how to overcome adversity, leadership, communication, how to get over yourself, how to deal with pressure, discipline, how to work hard, teamwork. Basically every sport cliche you can think of, it's a cliche for a reason, and that has been taught to me. But I'd say most of all, that when you really boil it down, it's about process, not results, and it's about relationships. Exactly. I'd say those two ththings.
Yourself being in media for such a long time, what has been doing media taught you?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing is that you're never done. It's not there is no finish line. There's no like end point or anything like that, and that can be true from a number of different ways. Like my role has changed a million times, changed sports, changed outlet, whatever. Even basketball. Like when I first started covering basketball, I had to learn the CBA. I had to get better at X's and O stuff, and then the game evolves, and you learn. And then I think I'm like, okay, I'm a good X's and O's guys for media, and then I start doing a show with Matt, and we're watching film together before. I'm like, I don't know anything. So I think that's important. Like there's a huge humility factor to it, the hard work stuff and things like that as well. And then I think something for me, and this is like great having co-hosts, but also like around the teams and stuff like that. It's a very individual job, especially when you're writing and stuff like that. But you have to you kind of have to view that individual job through the lens of like an entire community. Like, okay, I'm writing about the Raptors and that's a solo job and I'm the only person at this outlet, but you are, you're not part of the team, you're not part of the fan base, but you're the connector for that, help people bring the people closer to the team and stuff like that. I'm not wording this particularly well, but there is the understanding of like kind of the larger sports ecosystem and the role of media is something that's changed a lot, and like it takes a long time to learn exactly what your role is, and there's a humility factor to that of like, I'm not the important part. Like the Emmanuel quickly hitting the shot last night is the important part, right? So yeah, I don't know, a lot of stuff like that, but mostly it's just like, I guess for the other part of it is like, I blew up a real career and a real job to try to do this, and like now every day I just get to talk about sports. It's like, so there's also an element of like if you were to take something from my career for other people, it's like, man, I wouldn't want to be sitting here like working an office job wondering what if. And I know not everyone can do that, but that part of it's pretty cool too.
I mean, it's good as well if you love what you do and you're happy with what you're doing. That's probably the greatest feeling. Money doesn't even matter at that, realistically.
Thank goodness it doesn't, because it's sports media.
Yeah, my job with Blake doesn't feel like work. Yeah, I go in, I watch basketball, and then we go talk about it, and it feels like if me and him were just going to go grab a beer, but let's just record it, and that's like...
More or less what we did during the finals.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fun.
I love it. Now, we see the wrestling shirt. First thing you came in, you're like, are we going to talk wrestling? We are right now. You see the wrestling shirt. Now, Matt, going to start off with you. What got you into wrestling?
I mean, I used to watch it once in a while, like on TBS when it would come on Saturdays in like the 80s.
Wow, okay. This is good.
Old.
But I wasn't following the storylines as much. I just kind of knew the wrestlers, and then I had the video games on Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. But I didn't really get into it until I'd say 97, 98, 99. Like those were my 3 years where I was like into it, watching the storylines. It was basically just because my friends, some of my friends were into it and invited me to watch a pay-per-view, and then I was hooked. We get the pay-per-view every month, order pizza and drink some Mountain Dews and watch the pay-per-views. And this is like before the internet and everything, so like you had to watch it when it came. You couldn't even record TiVo or anything, whatever, back DVR it. So we had to watch the live broadcast. And then I remember WCW added Thursday Thunder, and so then we're watching that. In 1997, WWF, before it was WWE, came to University of New Hampshire in Durham at the Whittemore Center, and my buddy Chris Murph, camped out for 3 days to get tickets. This is because it's before the internet, basically. Like, you couldn't buy stuff on the internet. Camped out, bought 4 tickets, and we had, when you walk out in the aisle and then it breaks, we had the corner.
No way.
The corner seats, front. So we're like front on the side and the front. And I had basketball practices in the winter, 97. And right after basketball practice, borrowed my parents' old Ford Taurus. We all jumped in the car, still sweaty, like practice jersey, shirt, winter coat on top of the practice jersey. Drove 40 minutes to Durham. Get off the exit, line of cars like a mile to the arena. Parking like a cow field, and we just ran. We just ran all the way to the arena. And we got in, we got our seats. And we had signs, and it was like the best night ever. My buddy Randy, who's rest in peace, not alive with us anymore, had a huge black eye. I think he got in a fight with someone the week before or something. Had a huge black eye. Murph's going nuts. We had our shirts off, the whole nine. There was a tag team called the Godwins, and they came out, and Murph was screaming, cussing them out, talking shit to him. And I remember the Godwins took a huge swig of water and just spit it all in his face, and then took his sign and ripped it in half and hit him over the head with it. And we were like, oh shit. And we look, and Murph is like, that was awesome. And we had the time of our lives. It was on USA back then, the USA Network. We were on TV like all the time. One of my buddies I grew up with got an executive job with WWE, pulled the archive footage and was sending me like screenshots from the broadcast. So I have like screenshots of like us like on the broadcast, like, you know, flicking off the wrestlers and stuff. It was a great night. Great night.
How about yourself? Like, what got you into wrestling?
Yeah, so growing up, I technically wasn't allowed to watch it, but like had the like little figures when I was a kid or whatever. But I remember when I was in elementary school, my friend Chuck, I'd go over to his house after school on Tuesdays so I could watch, because they would do the replay at 4:00
after school. Yes.
That was my only way to watch it, because I wasn't allowed to watch it at home and didn't stay up that late or whatever. And then I remember I changed schools in, I want to say grade 7, and so like you got to make all new friends and stuff. And there was a guy named Nick who was a wrestling guy. I'm like, cool, I got one guy. And then at that point, like you're 13 or whatever. You can watch whatever you want. So just kind of like slow rolled from there. I have 2 younger brothers. We had moved into like a house with an unfinished basement. Whoa. So obviously like get the old mattresses down on the floor. The amount of damage I did to my brothers as the oldest brother was great. And then this is like super embarrassing, but when I was in high school, you know, internet was kind of taking off. E-fedding was a thing where you'd like, this is so weird to explain, but like you basically like in character, like do promos, text and stuff like that, and then like, you know, people would vote on like who won and you win the match or whatever. So I did some of that. It's actually like the first time I like ever wrote, and now like my career is like half writing. So yeah, just kind of took off like that. Like I got out of it a little bit, like when I was in university in my 20s and stuff. I'd actually never been, when I was young, I'd never been to an event. So my first event was like as an adult. Both of my brothers still like wrestling, so like they'll come into town for one or whatever. But yeah, just kind of like a lifelong fan. But when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch it. Parents wouldn't take me to see it, so it was kind of like it almost made it feel cooler, where I had to like sneak to watch it and stuff like that. Yeah,
I was somewhat in the same boat.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, a little birdie told me about your NWO Sting story.
Yes.
I gotta hear this.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess the next year, Thursday Thunder came back to University of New Hampshire Whittemore Center, and it was WCW, obviously, and the NWO was trying to get Sting to join.
Yes.
And so at the very end of the broadcast, the Wolfpack came out, and they gave Sting an NWO shirt, and Sting held it. And it was like, all right, is he going to put it on or is he not going to put it on? And he's like looking at it, thinking, and then they hit the lights, end of broadcast. And that was it.
That's it.
So like that was the cliffhanger to go into the next Nitro. So no one knows what he was going to decide. And so anyways, the lights go off. It's the end. Everybody starts shuffling out, and then they kick back up. And before Sting walks out of the ring, he holds it up and starts pointing to the crowd because he's going to throw it in the crowd. And everybody's like, yeah, throw it. He starts spinning around in circles at random, and just at random launches the shirt into the crowd. And I'm like, I'm a senior in high school at this point. I'm like 6'9", 235. And he throws it, and I'm like, holy crap, it's coming right at me. I'm like, I think I'm going to get it. And everybody's trying to jump up and get it, but I'm 6'9", so I jump up, I grab it, I bring it in, and I'm like, I got it. And then immediately, like 20 meatheads dogpile on top of me to try to get it. So now I'm on the floor of the arena in the seat where the seats are. I got like 20 dudes on top of me. I'm getting like rabbit punched. Guys are like pulling my hair. Everybody's trying to get the shirt. And I'm like, crap, like, how am I going to get out of this? My buddy, Sean Stebbins, his dad, Scott Stebbins, is just like grabbing guys and chucking them, but there's just too many of them. So I'm like, I got to think of something. So I just start screaming, my hand! My hand's broken. You broke my hand, like that. And everybody hesitated for like a second. Everybody's like, oh crap. Did we break this kid's hand? And then I'm like, I think I said something like psych. It was the 90s. I'm like psych, and I just booked it. And like a bunch of dudes started chasing me, and I like ran down the aisle. I ran up. They couldn't catch me. Come on. I'm in like peak basketball shape at this point. I ran out of the arena. There was like railroad tracks, and there was like it was winter, so like all the snow had melted. So it was like this melty, slushy river in the gully on the other side of the railroad tracks. So I ran and I jumped the gully, and everybody chasing me was like, stop, like, there's no way we're going to make it. And I was just like, yeah, I got it. Like, screw you, I got the shirt. Everybody's like, damn it, So I meet my buddy and his dad back at the car, and I pull the shirt out, and one of the sleeves was ripped off in the melee, but it was the right hand. So it was my shooting shirt. So like I would wear it at the YMCA doing spot shooting because the shooting sleeve was not there, so I had full range of motion.
I got you a question.
That's my story.
Do you still have the shirt?
I can't find it. I had it for like 20 years. I moved a bunch of times. Now I do not know what happened to it.
You could easily just put it in a case and frame it for sure.
Yeah. It could still turn up at some point, but I'm not 100% sure where it is now. And yeah, it pisses me off to this day.
What a story.
Told you it was a good Sting story.
I love it. That was fantastic. Yeah. Now yourself, we all know you as well in the city, and as well you said you go to London here and there whenever they did shows, Smash Wrestling commentary. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so the last couple of years I've been doing play-by-play and color depending on who's there that day, but Sebastian, the guy who runs Smash Wrestling, is a Raptors fan, a Jays fan, knew my stuff, knew I was a wrestling fan, and I had been out to a couple shows, take my brothers or go with friends or whatever when they used to run the Phoenix or the Frank Horner Center in Mississauga. So I'd been a couple times just as a fan, and they were like, hey, like our play-by-play guy is like not around for the next little bit. Do you want to come and help out? Hell yeah. Like first of all, like I talk a lot on the air, but I don't get to do like play-by-play or anything like that or color commentary. And like wrestling, I'm not going to play a character. I'm not going to try to get myself over. But like I can lean into a little bit more, have some more energy, do a little more personality and stuff. Was crazy nervous. But this was, I think, summer 2022. I went out and I did a couple with them. So like since then, if they need someone and the Raptors and Jays aren't playing, I'll just go out. They run the rec room out of in downtown Toronto, like right by the Rogers Center. So that works out super convenient. When Jays are on,
right down the street.
We've got one coming up on February 21st. Actually, I think Mercedes Martinez and Jody Threat's the only thing announced for that one yet. But yeah, it's been cool, man. Like one of them before he had got signed to TNA, like Joe Hendry was at one of them. He's like, "Hey man, I need a hand. Can you help me film one of my videos?" Like how he does like like a promos, but he does like music. He does like basically like diss raps, but like singing instead of rapping. He's like, "Hey man, can you help me film it?" And then like 6 months later, he's on TNA and he's on WWE and stuff like that. I did Motor City Machine Gun's last match before they signed with WWE. Jake Something just showed up in AEW as Jake Doyle the other night. I've done a bunch of his matches and stuff. So it's been really cool. Like it's cool as a wrestling fan to get to do that anyway. And then it's also cool, like with basketball and stuff like that. I love focusing on the prospects and the G League and stuff. So to be calling matches for guys who then take that jump, and it's like, man, like 5 years from now are some of these guys. I know you're talking to Jax Williams sometime soon. Like that's a young guy, good looking, everything. Tarek's the man too. Like in a couple years, am I seeing some of these guys on AEW or WWE? That part of it's really cool. It's been a lot of fun.
Exactly, and I gotta say as well, like the new modern day era as well. Matt, who are your favorites to watch?
In the modern day, I don't really have anyone. I told you my heyday was 97, 98, 99. I'd say John Cena is probably, he much like The Rock, kind of transcended wrestling and pop culture, acting, everything. He's from my neck of the woods. He's actually from the town right across the Merrimack River from where my cousin lives. And I love his comedic timing and chops in movies. And we invented a shooting drill on the Spurs named after him called the Cena.
We got to hear this.
Because, you can't see me. So basically, our shooting coach, Chip England, would pass me the ball, and two of our video guys, so like Brett Brillmeyer used to do it, who's an assistant with the Orlando Magic now. Will Hardy would do it, who's the head coach of the Jazz. I'm trying to think of who else. Alex Lloyd, who's coaching at Bates or Bowdoin in Maine. I can't remember. I always mix up those two schools. But anyways, like guys that have gone on to be like successful NBA coaches, but at the time were in the video room. And two of them would they'd be able to, they could do anything except hit my shooting hand. They could Ric Flair chest slap me. They could run up and blow in my ear.
Basketball style.
They could, just run at me screaming. They could act like they're going to punch me and like go right over my head, like whatever they wanted to do. And the whole point was I don't see them. Oh. I only see the hoop and I'm staying focused in my shot. And we called it, and they'd scream Cena when they were doing it. So like we're shooting spots, make 10. The last 3 would be Cena's. And they'd do that on the last 3 before I could move on to the next spot. So we had a shooting drill named after him.
I love it. I was like, who were your favorites growing up wrestlers? Or just even right now, if you could give me like your top wrestlers.
Yeah, growing up, Bret Hart was my guy who, I watched him on your show. That's all. I've gotten the chance to interview him before in the past as well. Ryan Barucki, when he was on the Jays, was like a huge Bret Hart fan. And told me this story about like when he would go to baseball games, his dad would take him and his brother, and they'd just be blaring wrestler entrance music to get pumped up at the games. Anyway, so Bret Hart had like shouted them out. So Bret Hart's top of the list when I was younger, for sure. Now, like on the younger side, like obviously Tanahashi and Cena just retired, so that's kind of the end of that. And like Okada and Omega are kind of getting toward the back end. And like there were a couple years there where when I was freelance, there was enough buzz around like the Okada, Omega, Jericho stuff in Japan that I was doing pretty regular freelance stuff for Vice and like staying up all night like covering Japanese wrestling to write
really?
And like dude, when you are a freelance basketball writer and someone will pay you to write about anything in the off season, you do it, and especially if it's wrestling. If it's like, I'll stay up and watch Kenny Omega against Kazuchika Okada. Yeah, those are great. So, but some of the other ones, like I really like Kyle Fletcher. Think he's going to be a superstar. Hot Mulligan's one of my favorite bands, and they do his theme now. So I got a kick out of that. I saw a video the other day. Actually, they play it at their live show now. They just like play the wrestler's theme, which is cool. So he's on there now. I mean, WWE's kind of, it feels like it's in a little bit of a weaker period. I don't get to keep up with the shows like
if you think
and I don't get to keep. I just like, especially in basketball season, I just don't get to keep up with it as much week to week. Obafemi is a guy who has stood out as like
main roster.
Yeah, it's like okay, that's a guy that seems like he's got some stuff going for him, and I don't watch NXT every week, but seems like a cool guy. But yeah, Kyle Fletcher's probably the one that I'm like, okay, I could see this guy being the biggest guy in wrestling in like 3-4 years.
Sorry, exactly. Now I gotta ask you a question. This now. If there's going to be a match now, 5-on-5, but you don't get to pick wrestlers, you get to pick 4 of your former teammates that you played with to face off against, let's say, NWO Prime, or perhaps, like, say, DX. Who would you pick? You, including 4 other teammates.
Ooh, teammates.
Well, I know one of them.
What do you mean you know one of them?
Well, you always talk about how tough Haslam is.
I wasn't even thinking college. I was thinking NBA, but
you bring it up like once a week on the show. How you never want to fight Udonis Haslam.
I would never want to fight Udonis Haslam. Absolutely, last person on earth I would want to get in a fight with. I wasn't thinking college, but yeah, if I can go college, I'm gonna go Udonis Haslam. I go Steven Jackson, Stack 5. That was a tough dude. Obviously, Malice in the Palace. He's got some experience. Man, I feel like I want someone like acrobatic.
I could see Tony doing flippy stuff.
No, he's French.
Yeah, that's true. There's not a lot of French.
How about Tim?
No,
nice.
although Tim does like the MMA stuff.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd go with Tim.
So Haslam, Tim.
We just have a huge. We're going to be huge.
Oh, yeah.
I need one little guy. Who am I picking for my little guy? I would go. I'm gonna go Patty Mills from Australia. Oh yeah,
That's good.
He's like a Tasmanian devil. Just I'm gonna get you. I'm going Patty Mills. Who else is really tough? Or Antonio McDyess. That old man strength. He like.
I love this visually. I'm like, okay, there's like
We're
Nash,
just gonna pound
Hogan,
you.
and
It's
Nash,
like the
Hogan,
Wolfpack.
and Hall, and like Bonner, Steven Jackson, and Tim Duncan line up, and then Patty Mills is just in Xbox face.
But like we could think of like we can like launch him and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. That's who I'm going with.
Too good. And now for yourself, let's go straight wrestling. So you against other, say a faction like perhaps, let's say DX.
Okay.
Like a prime DX. Like you have Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and say China.
Okay.
So you gotta harder for you because you're like a wrestling, as you like to call, like you're a guru. You love wrestling a lot. So you got to pick one diva and 3 guys to come along with you.
And I'm in the match?
Yeah, you have to.
We're losing for sure then. Current or all time?
Whatever you want.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna go all Canadian.
Oh, this is good. This
so
is good.
Trish Stratus will be on the other side of China. We'll go Bret Hart, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega as my other 3.
Off the bat.
Lean into the speed.
Oh.
We'll play a speed game here.
I love it. Now, I'll start off with you. Give me your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. But it could even be your favorite. So you could add, so if it makes it easier.
Yeah. Bret Hart right there.
Wow. Okay, because a lot of people on my show, wrestlers, they say HBK, they don't call Bret Hart, which I get kind of, but
Yeah, I mean, look, growing up a Canadian kid, and then like, even like historically, you look back and like some of the stuff he did, were like, oh, I'm a good guy in Canada, I'm a heel in the U.S. Like how he helped Austin with the WrestleMania 13 double
match,
turn and stuff like that. One of the best matches of all time, in my opinion. So Bret Hart's on there. So we're in Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we can put Hogan on there anymore for other stuff. Ric Flair's probably got to be on there still.
Nate.
Yeah.
Nate, where you at?
Let's see. I think Cena's probably done enough to be on there.
I would
20 years or so. And then maybe he's not all the way there yet, but I think Okada's got to be right there. Like I think Okada, like maybe some people say Tanahashi, or they'll go a little more old school on the Japanese side.
These names he's saying, this is like.
Well, like and like wrestling, like I think 3.5 million people watch Wrestle Kingdom, so like it's huge there. So like if you think internationally, and Okada's like arguably the best in-ring worker like ever. So I'll go with that.
Perfect. Give me yours.
Do I get all of Mick Foley's characters?
Go ahead.
3 different spots on Rushmore.
Again, remember 97, 98, 99.
Yeah.
I'm going Stone Cold.
Ding dong for sure, yes.
I'm going Sting.
Ooh.
This is just my 4 favorites.
These are great.
I'm going Sting. Man, I wish I could pick like the Wolfpack as one. I love the whole NWO WCW feud. It was my all-time favorite. But I'm going those 2. I'm going Eddie Guerrero.
Good pick.
Frog Splash. I absolutely loved Eddie Guerrero. Just was about his business, and a great technical wrestler. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it just seemed like he was.
You're on point.
Yeah.
And then for my last one, I guess I would go Hogan's out, you're right.
It's just a little hard.
For me, it was Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah.
People keep saying Hogan, but there's no wrestling without Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand the stuff he's.
Yeah, the crossover stuff when he was Thunder Lips and everything like that.
When
That's really good.
I met him when I got inducted in the Boys and Girls Club Hall of Fame. He was one of the fellow inductees, and talking to him that weekend, for what it's worth, he was extremely remorseful for a lot of the stuff that went down. And I didn't even bring it up. Like, you could tell it was like a kind of a reckoning thing for him that weekend, for what it's worth. I met Ric Flair a few times. His daughter went to University of Florida at the same time as me.
Oh, nice.
And he'd like come out during timeouts in the basketball games and be like, woo, and Do it all. I don't know who I guess I'm going Mick Foley for my fourth.
There you go.
Perfection.
Yep.
I love it. Now I gotta say, now the last thing on the wrestling questions I'm gonna ask is this: if you could become a wrestler, what would your theme song be?
Ooh.
You could pick a wrestler's theme song, but whatever. You could go out of the box and perhaps pick whatever. But it has to suit you. That is a question. It just has to suit you. The fans are going to talk about it.
Yeah, I've thought about this before, and I think I'd have to go with like the screamo kind of stuff. There's a song called The One-Armed Boxer versus the Flying Guillotine by a band called From First to Last, which was, if you know the DJ Skrillex,
yes,
he was the front man in this like screamo band before he became Skrillex. And it's like a slow build with like a slow drum beat, and then like right as you'd hit the ring, he screams, "Hit the lights." And it would just time out so perfectly for a wrestling theme. And I'm like a punk emo kid, so I've thought about this before. I think that's the one I'd go with.
I love it.
I don't know if I could afford the licensing fees, but one by Metallica with the build up with the and that would be like right when I got on into the ring. And like went nuts, and the whole crowd would be headbanging to that, and it would be awesome.
I love it. Now yourself, before we wind down, I got ask you a couple of baseball questions. You covered all of the Jays' run, just an amazing run. I actually shed tears. I was at Game 7. I gotta admit, I shed tears in the stands. I did. Now, 2 outs away. And you covered that. Did you even grieve yet? Let's review.
No, I didn't, because like that game was on a Saturday. I was there until like 3 a.m. that night. Monday is our last Jay show. Tuesday was my first Raptor show, so I didn't have time.
So yeah,
it was like all right, man. Raptors are 1-4. Here
probably
you go.
For the best.
Yeah, it is probably a little bit. But yeah, it was like obviously like. You would much rather cover win. As a fan, you would rather have that. I want that for the fans and the team and stuff like that. And it was sad. Like the hours after the game, like you mentioned in Game 6 when you see everyone roped off and like the friends and family are waiting. So after Game 7, I'm walking in the media room and there's like 150 friends and family of Blue Jays people who were waiting to go on the field and celebrate and are just there now, like just standing waiting for
it's
the
like
guys
a funeral.
to get changed. Yeah. And then like you're in the locker room and everyone's like hugging and crying and stuff like that, and like you're having conversations with guys. You got to do your job, but like they're trying to process it too. So you did a lot of processing that night. Having said that, that day sucked. The Friday Game 6 sucked. Like one of the most incredible months of my life and certainly my professional career. Like nothing's going to top the 2019 Raptors championship because they won it all. And that was like earlier in my career and like right place, right time and everything like that. But it was so cool, man, to get to cover that for a month, to be like on TV every day, and it's every day too, right? Like basketball, you get off days and stuff like that. Baseball, it's just nonstop for a month. I got to go to LA. It was my first time at Dodger Stadium for those games. It was one of the only ballparks I hadn't been to yet. So yeah, it was amazing. Like one of the best months of my life. And the coolest thing for me, I think, now, like a little removed from it, is that the Jays haven't operated like, oh, that was fun, darn. They have been like spend. We were talking about this before we came on air. If you get one of Bo Bichette or Kyle Tucker, you love the offseason you had, you maybe get right back there. And we talked about this, I think, the first day of the Raptors show. You guys lost a heartbreaker up 3-2, lost Game 6 on a heartbreaker, lost Game 7, and then came back next year and beat that same team in the NBA championship. So I've had that loss in. Every time I think about it, I'm like, Jays Dodgers again. Let's run it back Spurs Heat style.
Yeah, that's the first thought that went through my head too. Was like, I've been in those shoes. It sucks. You just gotta feel all of that, feel all of it all off season, and just use it to fuel that fire when you come back the next year to get back and get your revenge. And if anyone can do it, it seems like those Jays guys. You saw all the interviews after, the tears. I love these guys. These guys are family. You keep that together and use that as motivation, you're gonna get a maximum effort from them next year for sure.
Exactly. And winding down here, guys, I can't thank you enough as well. Is like, I gotta say, perhaps even you too as well, Matt Bonner. I'd like to say, give your flowers for what you've done for the city in general. Like for basketball, as cheesy as it sounds, I want to say thank you because you gave us memories as well, and you as well, Blake, the voice of basketball and perhaps sports in the city for sure, hands down. So I gotta say thank you guys so much for even coming on this show and be a part of my show. I appreciate it so much. Now the last question to both you guys will be the same. Matt, when it's all said and done, what do you want the fans to remember Matt Bonner as?
God, you're hitting these big questions. What does basketball mean to you?
Yeah, you love it. You caught it.
What do I wait? Repeat that. What do I want the fans to remember?
What do you want the fans to remember Matt Bonner as?
Someone who was himself, authentic, and worked as hard as he could for the team. And yeah, just I don't know, down to earth, authentic person, I guess. Like
more deeper questions. He's used to this.
I don't know what to say to that.
How about yourself too? When your career's all done, doing all this World Series, basketball, all this stuff that you've done.
A guy who did a great Kevin Owens costume for Halloween one year. Yeah, it was the easiest costume I've ever done. Like I guess like someone who left the media space a little smarter and a little better than he found it.
Couldn't have said it better. Now, where can fans reach you guys? And obviously, we said the Raptors show, but where can they reach you and look forward to? Is it like everyday show? Like, let them know the people.
Yeah, the Raptors show is every day live, 11 to 12 on Sportsnet Plus, Sportsnet 360, Fan 590. It's on the podcast every day. Matt is on the Sportsnet television broadcasts a lot as well. I pop up on there sometimes. And then baseball season, my J show is 10 to 12 on all those same platforms. So yeah, keep an eye out there. And Smash is February 21st is our next one at Rec Room in Toronto.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, I'm just around. I'm walking around the city. I'm on the subway. I'm on the streetcar.
Not paying your fares.
You'll see me. Yeah.
Keep it quiet. All right, Ken, thank you guys so much. Until next episode, we're out. Thank you guys so much.